if you want to be successful, like we again, it kind of goes with that. We tend to see the negative as this bottomless pit, and we don't objectively look at the positives that come with it. Well, it's the same thing with what you want. There is some decisions and there are some things that go with it. When you're working on being successful, you can't expect everyone to love you.
I'm Junaid Ahmed, host of Hacks and Hobbies podcast and a digital presence advisor at HumbleZone. This episode is brought to you by Home Studio Mastery. I launched a consultation and course program to help podcasters and course creators to create a space in their homes that will reduce the friction of creating content and appearing their best when showing up on camera. The pandemic gave us a lot of issues, but this one is here to stay. We're now so much closer to our audience thanks to video becoming more popular and affordable. I help guide folks who want to create Hollywood-worthy studios to not only capture great content, but also build more confidence, more authority, and be more comfortable in front of the camera. If I can do it, you can too. And with my help, you can do it faster. So if you'd like to learn more, visit homestudiomastery.com and how you too can create a home studio that brings out your personality, professionalism, and possibilities. Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life who want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. Today I get to speak with Vernon Brown. He's one of the top happiness coaches in America. He focuses on exploring the endless possibilities as to why entrepreneurs and executives feel stuck and unhappy. The key is many still live in the past. Vernon unlocks their destiny. Known on stage as the Energizer Connection Speaker, Vernon uses his intuitive gift of empathy, charismatic personality, and knowledge from his studies in psychology to set past emotions aside and leave audience members at the edge of their seats as they wait to implement his life-changing lessons. I cannot wait to learn more from this happiness coach, as happiness has been something that I've strived for a very long time. Not that I'm not happy, it's just that I'm a very positive-minded individual, very enthusiastic, and when I met Vernon in our green room, I was just blown away. So I just cannot wait for you to listen to this episode as we learn more about Vernon Brown and where he's going. Vernon, so happy to have you here. How are you doing, sir?
I am great. When you say my name like that, I feel special. So I appreciate that intro.
You betcha, you betcha. So we met through Podmatch, and I just can't wait to learn a little more about you. So share with us, your journey on how you came to be. We were talking in the green room and how you lived in the state of Virginia for over 30 years, but now you're in a different state. So talk to us about, what got you inspired, how you got started, and where we're heading.
This is a great question. Not only am I saying that because it is a great question, but it's a fun one, right? Because, oftentimes with success, my experience has been, I woke up one day and now I'm Dwayne Johnson. Mm-hmm. And we all know there's more in between that. I'm not likening myself to him, but, we see these big monuments of success and we're always like, how did they get here? Mm-hmm. But, I can say what I've gotten, it started off just like a lot of us. A messed up house when I was growing up, lots of love, for the best love that can be shown, with a lot of self-doubt, lots and lots of self-doubt, self-loathing. And these things can happen to all of us. But my story, I mean, it's just, I got to say it because, one of my clients said that it's kind of like the ugly duckling. Mm-hmm. And I say that with a lot of humbleness, play on words here. Because I didn't have a lot of the accolades that some people had. I wasn't attractive by my family's definition. They let me know this. I was the ugly one. I was overweight. Wow. I was considered the stupid one. Now, I'm not trying to spin it as if it was like, oh, it's all bad. No, right. When you grow up tough, you have to be tough.
Yeah.
You got to be tough. Why? Because the world is hard. And it's not that it's never soft, but when you grow up in a tough environment, if you're softer, it's going to eat you alive. And so with that definition, I'm hearing these things, but my demeanor also at that time, I wasn't allowed to smile. Smile meant weakness.
Wow.
And it also didn't help that I went to the dentist twice, one time. Said, and I'm not saying this, like I'm a badge of honor, but
Sure.
I wasn't proud of my smile. And I'm such a big advocate that the top 5 things you can do for yourself is take care of your teeth. And I learned that because without a smile, it's hard to really represent yourself and show your full self. And things kind of went this way
Yeah.
for about 15, 16 years. And I just had enough of it. And life has this really funny way and an amazing sense of humor because I went from the short, fat, ugly one to one summer, as soon as I got out of college, where I shot up 6 inches, I put on 60 some pounds. And that wasn't totally in the summer, but life changed dramatically for me.
Yeah.
And for me, it wasn't that, oh, wow, look at me now, but it was, who am I now? So as much as you think, oh, this is what I want, this is what I want. And I tell people this all the time. Sometimes you don't know what you're asking for, but you ask for it and you get it. So I got it. I got the height. I got just the way that I could speak. I worked on my smile. So I got my teeth worked on. And so all of the disadvantages that I had with the positives, because there's always a positive with disadvantages, always. With those disadvantages, I finally got a lot of those things that I really wanted. I didn't know what to do as a kid with a candy store, in the candy store. And so what do? You play. So I became a bartender because I wanted to overcome any communication struggles that I had. I wasn't used to talking and the smiling, and I was kind of negative then. Make the mistake, I had to build myself to be positive. And it took a lot of work, not just with me, but with my environment. There's no such thing as a self-made person. We're all an amalgam of different experiences that people have given us or not given us. So I never want to take anything away from people or persons, but it was a lot of work. And from there, what I decided to do was I wanted to be bigger than anything I ever thought. When I say bigger than anything, I wanted to do something that would challenge me. So I said, let me become an actor and a model in New York. I'm 24 years old. I'd never traveled any of my life outside of Virginia. And it was terrifying. I got this new smile, this new persona, this new body. And it was, what do you do with it? And for me, it was, all right, we're going to New York. We're going to conquer these things. But in the core, I'm still this nerd. We talked about this. I am a nerd. I love comic books. I love electronics. I was building computers for fun on Saturday nights after I finished bartending versus going out. That's who I was. But here I go taking on a Big Apple. And, long story short, I had a great time. I was afforded a lot of really cool experiences because my personality, because I was that late bloomer, my personality had to develop. And I know a big thing about my personality, and also a combination of some of those struggles that I had when I was younger, is I see so many places where people get stuck, and I laugh and I can find a lot of humor in things because I've been through the gutter. I'm not saying I've been through the worst things, but I've been through the gutter. So most things I'm like, it's really not that serious. You're going to be okay, buddy. Okay.
Yeah.
It is not that I make light of it, but it's the reality is people forget how strong they are. And, when you kind of have that approach with people, they like working with you. They like being around you because you're light to get along. You're light in terms of, how you handle situations. You like to have a good time. I don't know one person who doesn't like to have a good time, especially when it sucks. Because make no mistake, modeling, acting, it's like, oh, it's fun. You get to stand in front of the camera. Yes. Well, imagine doing that for 12 to 14 to 16 hours a day for 5, 6, 7 consecutive days. Fun starts becoming FUN to PHUN. It starts changing a little bit, right? But I had some great experiences there. And when I got done with acting and modeling, largely because I kind of set out and did the things I wanted to do. I proved things to myself. I beat a lot of those voices, that inner critic up here. And then I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I got tired of making people a lot of money. And acting and modeling, if you're getting a check and you're like, whoa, I got a $10,000 check and, great. You better believe you need to look who signed that check. That's who got the real money.
That's got the,
And it didn't take long. It doesn't, 1 + 1 = 2 for me still. So it's like, why do it like this when I can do it like this? And I decided to step into entrepreneurship. And I kind of got my toes, not toe, but toes. I dumped in all 5 of them wiggling in the water. And I said, I like this. It was a different challenge, but I liked it. and I got some mentoring done. I'm a huge fanatic of collapse time frames and
Hmm.
save time and work smart. Mentors are the best things you can ever have.
Amen. Oof.
He saved me. He asked the questions that were incredibly difficult. And this is one that I still live with. What do you want? And that question shook me to the core.
Hmm.
I didn't know what I wanted. And he literally sat back and started asking me questions about my skill set. And he said, you should consider coaching. And Vernon said, ain't no way.
I'm
I'm
not doing
30
coaching.
years old. I have not lived enough life to do this, right? And I remember it clearly. He said to me, Bernie, you have lived multiple lives already by a lot of your experiences. He was like,
Hmm.
you have a lot of value you could offer. And I said, whatever, old man. And then he said, no, come here. And I listened because I was saying no to something I didn't know about. I'm still not a fan of the term life coach. I'm not a life
Hmm.
coach. I'm just the guy. It's I just see things differently. You
Hmm.
don't see, options, opportunities, possibilities, and solutions. I do. I call that oops thinking.
Yeah.
And that's when What You're Happy kind of came to be. And once I started working really hard and had a great time, I became a speaker, which is not what nerds do, for the record. Um, so let's talk about a fish out of water. But
Yeah.
it was, yeah, I took some chances and it worked out. I can say that, and it was just like moving. I never wanted to be the hometown hero. I always wanted to say that if I could be successful, I wanted to be successful in every geographic part of the world if possible. But success for me is, can you pick it up and do it again in another environment?
Yeah.
So I said, let's challenge it. Let's do this. And boom, here we are.
Yeah.
And now it's about doing the things that I do on a larger scale with my son, who's named after Wolverine. Um, but yeah, and that's how we got here, and that's how life is going so far, and it's great.
Man, I love the story. And some of the things that stuck out to me was number one, smile, right?
Oh yeah.
People not being able to smile. Come on, man. That is crazy. Earlier this week, I watched this video where the guy was like, if you smile, it is an infectious thing, because when somebody sees you smile, guess what you're gonna do? You're gonna smile.
You will.
So if you smiled at somebody, it may have well traveled around the world, right? So
Very
that
true.
when you told me the story about going to the dentist a couple times to get your smile right, I'm like, wow, that is so powerful. And I'm a Muslim, and in Islam we say smiling is a charity.
Hmm.
A
I
smile
like
is a
that.
charity because you're uplifting somebody from feeling down. It's like the sun. Like literally, the smile
Absolutely.
emoji is yellow because the sun makes a smile. So I love that.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
You betcha. And then bringing your amalgam of experiences, right? You have to have these learned experiences to grow. If you don't go through these hardships, and we'll see weeds growing through concrete, right? It's amazing how that's possible. So if we have that open mindedness that hey, anything can happen, it can.
You can,
And when
but
you
you have
mentioned
to be
that
bold.
being a speaker, and that's something that nerds don't do. Not some nerds do. Like I'm a nerd, right? I'm a nerd as well. Like when you mentioned, you were building computers on weekends. I was exactly doing that as well growing
Oh
up,
yeah.
because why not? And what I realized is that most speakers, TEDx speakers and speakers that are out there, they're introverts in
Truth.
their minds, because they're not interacting with lots of people. They're just talking in front of a ton of people. And to get over that fear is something that only happens when we put ourselves in uncomfortable situations.
It does. My tweak on that is, because speaking is one of universally across many continents, it's considered a fear that we all can agree with, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So in my practice, I live by this: go with the resistance. So for
Yeah.
anybody that's listening, if universally everybody has a thought or a hesitation about it, then use that. You
Mm-hmm.
walk out on stage in the very first speech and you get out there. I'm a goofy guy. I love to play. What I do serious, but it doesn't need to be that serious. It really
No.
doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk out on stage and you look at people and you say, all right, everybody, what's about to happen? And like people just relax because it's a shared experience.
Yeah.
I don't even like saying I'm a speaker. We have conversations. It's no different than
Mm-hmm.
you and I talking.
That's right.
Because when you're talking and you're speaking, and once people recognize, oh my gosh, this guy's human. It's the three things people ask: Who are you? What's in it for me? Why should I care? That's it. Once you, no
That's
matter
it.
what you speak on, who are you? I'm a normal guy. I'm just a guy who's got some experience talking about this, and got a lot of success with it. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool. What's in it for me? Listen up. You're about to learn a lot of keys to make a lot more money, to have a lot more fun, and it really impacts your health. And
Yeah.
why should you care? Because you want to be alive. And when you answer those kind of questions in a really fun way, all of a sudden people are doing the things you do. They're like, oh,
Okay.
oh, oh. And then, next thing you know, now we start doing the dance. And then people
Mm-hmm.
are laughing. And,
Yeah.
I'm talking on stage about people losing their jobs and people are cracking up. But because it's the energy that comes out of that. That's
Yeah.
what it's about. That's why that smile is so important. The sun, it gives energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it shuts most things down. I've digressed. I don't mean it to,
No, I love
get
that.
off
No,
topic,
thank you.
but
Thank you so much. I totally love that because we are literally having a conversation here and meeting you for the very first time. It's like we've known each other for a while because of our shared experiences, because of all
exactly.
the things that we've gone through. It's like amazing.
This what comes out of some of the negative crap that happens in life.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people see the negative as, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever, which I did. And I
Yeah.
still do about some things to some degree. But let me talk about what reality does in the positive for you. Because again, you can't say it all is bad. It's
Mm-hmm.
very humbling and it creates conversations.
Yeah.
Everyone can relate to the experience of a great loss. Everyone can, and in some way, maybe you might not have lost a person, but you lost a job. That causes grief. We can
Mm-hmm.
all agree that we want to laugh and you just be happy. We can all agree we love a good meal. When you come from a human perspective, all that other nonsense that's out there in the world goes away. Great.
Yeah.
We see things differently. We might
Mm-hmm.
not believe the same way, but perfect. But let me tell you something. Don't you like to sit down and laugh and joke and play and talk about some good times and how you
All
got
the
through it?
time.
Done.
Oh yeah.
If we can talk about Captain America's shield all day long, we
Let's
got
do
common
it.
ground, baby. We're good. But that comes out of the bad stuff
100%.
that happens in life and being bold.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Man, this has been so awesome. So we got to learn about your origin story, where you started, how you're going, your son named after Wolverine. Now, we're not
Yeah.
gonna give up the name because if you know what Wolverine's name is, tweet it, right? Tweet it to us or send a comment or something. Because if you're a nerd like us, you know who
His
what
real name.
what his real name is. In fact, should we give him a really quick hint?
Two initials. I'll give.
No, no, not even initials. There was a movie,
Yes. Are you talking
right?
about the last one?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. There's a movie named after his name. All right, that's all we're gonna talk about.
Gotta be. Do some research.
Do some research. So, and you also share, your motivations, what kept you going, because you love to take on those challenges. You had this transformation, right? You asked for it, you got those 6 inches of height, you got this bod, you got the smile, and that just kept, they're like, wait, if this is possible after what I've been through in my adolescence, why not? Just take on the world.
Literally, you just hit it. People tend to think there's this bottomless pit of despair. Let's just say that is true.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a bottomless pit of happy and joy and excitement and
Hey,
fulfillment.
hey,
Like
hey, yeah.
people lament, and I understand why. I'm not when I say lament, I'm not making fun of. I'm just talking about this ethereal belief that
Mm-hmm.
everything bad is going to happen to me. Well, if everything
Yeah,
bad is going to happen to you, then everything good has a daggone good chance of being good, happening as well.
absolutely.
But that's why you got to be bold.
Mm-hmm.
All you need is one yes. And I remember I was a fat, ugly guy in high school. I asked the girl out, the girl that nobody would think I would have a chance. She said yes.
Hmm.
Shocked me. It didn't go any particular place, but you know what? I got that one yes.
Yes,
And that's all you need. You get
that's all.
one yes in sales. You get that one yes, that can mean you could have a great year, a great
Hmm.
career. You get that one yes, that could be married. You get that one yes, that could mean your business takes off. So there's a lot of
100%.
power in just that one, and people to forget that. But that's where you have to be bold.
Yeah.
And the second one and B with that is your environment. There's no man or woman greater than his or her environment. Watch those things.
Oh my God. I've been and there's a ton of amazing stuff out there on our phones, right? As soon as I hit that Steve Harvey video,
Yep,
oh my God, the next one is even more powerful. The next one is, so I'm putting all this positive stuff in my mind. Guess what's going to come
yes,
out? More positive. It's
because that's the
amazing.
game.
That's the game. That's right.
You have
You
to seek it
become,
out.
you have to seek it out and you become what you focus on. Somebody
Time to
doesn't
power.
get good at basketball by focusing on, I'm not good at basketball. I'm not good. No, they go out there and they play the game.
Yeah,
They
and
spend
then
time on it.
the people who really succeed when they practice, play, or do anything, they're not practicing and playing. I've talked to so many thousands of people about this, really successful people that we admire without name dropping.
Yeah.
They have always practiced as if they were that superhero in that scene, that athlete who's participating in doing something, that actor or actress who's
Mhm.
stepping out on stage on Broadway. And
Yeah.
when you listen to a lot of them, they're actively practicing for that thing that they want. How can you beat anybody who's wearing the new shoes, who's got the
Yeah.
outfit, and thinks that they're Kobe Bryant?
Yeah.
You might get them for the first 2, 3 games, but if they got that kind of indomitable force built up, like I'm like this and I'm doing that, and he does this, eventually the game
Mhm.
will turn in their favor.
Yes.
But you have to condition yourself.
It,
It's uncomfortable sometimes, but you got to.
it is. And the one thing that I kept that's keep coming back to me is that you got to spend time. You've got to spend time. You can't just let yourself be guided by other people's definition of who you are or who you're supposed to be. You got to take control.
Absolutely. People see you like this.
Hmm.
Your friends and family, as much as we love them, this is how
Yeah.
they see you. You will always be this snapshot. You will always be that. And because, think about it like this, with your parents, your parental units, guardians, whatever, they still, hey, how you doing? You doing okay? Did you brush your teeth? You pay they will always check on you. You're like, I'm running X company. I'm doing this. I'm traveling here. And you're
Yeah.
asking me that I cut the grass, which is a
Yeah.
valid question, right?
Hmm.
But they still see us as children. How do you think your friends that you grew up with see you?
That's
Oh
right.
man, I remember this. They keep you kind of in a time
They
capsule, and it's
keep
a
you in
good
that.
reason.
Oh
It
my
keeps them positive, right? To see you that way. But when you are ready to step out on life, you got to take some chances.
God.
And this is where
Hmm.
the environment is key because if you don't know, but the devil you know is what you get comfortable with, in order to get out there, you need this to be in the right shape with your
Yeah.
imagination, with your insights, with the strategy. And then as you step out and be bold with it, you're going to make sure you're going to need people around you who see you for who you really are, not as
Yeah.
a snapshot of what they remember you as. And that's why I'm a big fan of watch your environment. It's great to have them, make no mistake. But when you're taking a chance on yourself,
Hmm.
especially at the beginning, you need as many things pulling you versus you pushing.
Yes. Amen. Man, we can go on for hours for this because there's so much value in this and there's so much real results from this methodology, from the way you think in here. So thank you so much for sharing.
You're very welcome.
Vernon, what would you mind sharing 3 hacks to take away with the audience so they can apply into their lives? I see that you're one of the one of the top happiness coaches in America. Come on
Oh
now.
God, don't say it like that. Oh, that sounds scary to me. Yeah. But it's quite a feat.
It
I
is
gotta
quite
live
a
up to
feat, but
that. So I think one of the big hacks is don't you have to be really careful what you ask for. And I mentioned this earlier.
Yeah.
If you want to be successful, like we again, it kind of goes with that. We tend to see the negative as this bottomless pit, and we don't objectively look at the positives that come with it. Well, it's the same thing with what you want. There
Hmm.
is some decisions and there are some things that go with it. When you're working on being successful, you can't expect everyone to love you
Oh,
or everyone
wow.
to appreciate you. And that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. And a lot of people might say, well, no, I'm good with rejection. I never fit in. No, I'm not saying
Uh,
fitting in. But when you have good intentions and I'm so excited, and you might have saw your sweetie or your one that you wanted to get, and you're so excited, you give them that card and you're like, oh, this is going to change his or her life. And you give that to them. And then all of a sudden they get it and they say, this is stupid. That's not rejection. That's hurt
that's hurt. Yep.
because you have good intentions and it's not well received. That's a different level. And people will say, well, you don't have a condition your feelings. No, my friend, I have. But you need to understand that we're not talking about, oh, someone saying, hey, you look stupid. They're disrespecting your baby. So that hurts at a different level. So when you want to be successful, you need to understand it's not that everything's bad, but there are some things that come about with what you want, and just know
Hmm.
what you're signing up for. Because otherwise, you could say, well, why is this so hard? Well, I'm sorry, Shark Tank doesn't show you everything. They show you the highlights. This is what it looks
Yes.
like. So know what you're asking for. The second thing, and this the second one is not sexy at all. It's not salacious to any degree, but it's you have to prioritize yourself. You have to, because the more successful you get, the more driven you become. Remember, people watch motivational, successful, and inspirational videos. As you put yourself out there more and you get more successful, people are going to be drawn to you. Like, people are drawn to you. Like, oh man, this guy's, I love the way that he carries himself. He's got this charisma, he's got this charm. If you don't start prioritizing you, your dreams, your priorities, your responsibilities, you will all belong to everybody and your dreams will not belong to you. So you have got to prioritize yourself and prioritize your priorities, because that's up to you. Because that is something that bites people on the bottom. Many entertainers we have seen, they didn't prioritize themselves and their environments and surrounded themselves with different persons who probably didn't have the best intentions. And it's something I always tell people to do. Always audit your circle. Make sure they're with you. And the last one, the big hack is you have to be bold. There just some, we could discuss quantum mechanics, quantum physics all day long. But if you're not bold enough to say, I might not have all the data, but I'm gonna build this as this flies, that takes a certain level of cojones, of just faith beyond what people typically mean faith. I mean, faith is a verb, not faith is sitting in a place and hoping.
Amen.
When you got to you got to be bold, because everybody, think about it, we never met before.
Hmm.
Send the message, boom. That's a lot out of boldness. We had a couple of things happen in the green room, but guess what happened? We made that rock. We took it, made it a positive. That takes a bold person to say, I don't know you, you don't know me, but you know what? Let's cut the camera off. Let's look at what we got in common. And that's not what the intention was, but that
Hmm.
came out of it. That takes a level of boldness and a level of vulnerability.
Yeah.
That's fly. And that's what I even said earlier. I can rock with you. You understand what commitment means. I love people like that. You are
Yeah.
my people. And like, you have to be bold to do it. That was a bold move that you said, hey, I got a couple things going on. Bear with me. You could have hung up to give
Hmm.
everybody some backstory, but you said, no, I'm going to sit here and I'm sitting here typing and you're talking to me. And I'm like, I don't even know this dude. And we found out we got some things in common. That takes boldness and people undervalue that.
Yeah.
But those are my three big hacks.
I love that, dude. So the three hacks are so amazing because they're reminding me that the journey that I'm on, I'm gonna face some people, some naysayers, and that's
Oh, yeah.
okay. So it's a great reminder for me myself to just keep on keeping on, ignore the naysayers, just keep doing and prioritize myself. I love that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You
This is
have
so
to.
powerful. Yeah. Let's jump into the 6 questions that I like to ask
Oh,
my guests. This is gonna be fun.
all right.
What is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
There's one hobby I really wish I spent more time with, RC cars.
Oh,
I wish I got into that earlier. I got into it a couple years ago because we're
mhm.
all sitting at home. I'm just going to
Yeah.
use that word there. Don't want to ding you for SEO or anything like that. But when we were all sitting at home, I wish I got into hot RC cars, radio control cars earlier.
Man, they are so much fun. I still
They
have
are.
mine from 10 years ago. Wait,
See?
20 years ago that I bought, and it still runs. I need to get a new body for it, but this thing is
Oh,
fast. These are things are so. No, this is a road version. It's an off-road version. A lot of people got into the off-road with the gas and electric,
yeah.
but the on-road versions are. Oh man, they're so good.
They would burn the street up. I've said when I saw how fast they could go, and me and my
Yeah.
son, I'm like, we need to go to the hobby store. And he's like, I don't want to go. I'm like, yes, you do, you know?
Yes.
So I'm trying but for sure, RC cars, and you get it. RC
Amen.
cars.
Yep. All right. Next one. What did you want to be when you were a child?
I wanted to be a detective.
Mm.
Actually, one of my failed, fortunately and unfortunately, I wanted to be a detective at one point. But, for whatever reason, the stars didn't align. It's a large part of what I do. I piece
Yeah.
together information. I got to put it together. But being a detective like Batman, the
Mm.
world's greatest detective,
Amen.
hands down.
Hands down. All right. Sweet. What is your favorite movie or TV show?
Oh, easy. Favorite movie is definitely going to be Moana, hands down. The Rock is amazing. It's got an amazing soundtrack. I can sing it all. We're not going there today because you want to make sure people listen to you. Um, TV show, I really, truly want to say Alice in Borderlands. It's on
Mm.
Netflix.
I
It's
think
just a different concept of
mm.
kind of figuring out puzzles, and it's got a good spin on it.
Man,
So
you're
yeah,
a
two concepts.
detective, so you're mentioning all the good stuff right there. I love it.
Well, you got to figure it out. Makes you
Yeah.
think.
And Moana sound like one of the songs in Moana where The Rock sings, and you probably know what song this is,
I see what's happening here. Of course.
right? You're welcome. Like
Um,
anytime my kids say you're welcome, we're like singing that song. Like, bring it on.
I love it.
It's so awesome. All right, next question is gonna be a fun one. What movie would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
That movie would definitely have to be, well, it's not difficult, but I want to frame it a certain way.
Mm,
Denzel Washington, he has a special place in my heart.
yeah.
Not that I ever met him. Quick backstory why I like him. One of his first movies, he negotiated his teeth, his smile getting fixed into his contract. So I appreciate it. So it's one of his earlier films. It's called The Mighty Quinn.
Mm,
And that movie showed me that even when you have good intentions, you're helping people, not everyone's going to like it. That's what I took away from it as a child. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the reason for, what they were getting at, but that's what I took away from it. So The
yeah,
Mighty Quinn, definitely I would love to play that.
I love that. I like what he did. Right, put it in the contract. I need to get the smile fixed. It's part of.
I
You want
never
me?
thought about that.
Yeah,
I
that's
never thought to
genius.
say, I thought and this is my ignorance when
Hmm.
because, people go off on tangents, you should know better. I didn't know. And when I found out that, oh, I can fix my smile, it opened the world to me.
Yeah.
And these are
Wow.
good questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Next one is who is your favorite superhero?
Spider-Man through and through, no way around it. We're not even having this conversation. No one can beat him. I would drop kick anybody. It gets serious. Those fighting words. Spider-Man.
Spider-Man is amazing. I mean, he's just a child, right? And he has so much on his shoulders. And I love he just keeps talking like like this is a fight, right? Why are you having a conversation?
Where do you think I got my sense of humor from?
Mm,
I picked up on all the comics, and
mm,
Spider-Man growing up, Spider-Man had debt. Spider-Man had girl problems, women problems.
yes.
Spider-Man wasn't able to hold a stable job. Spider-Man had
Hmm.
family problems, but
Yeah.
you know what? He was still able to be a superhero. I got to
Yes.
respect that.
That is truly amazing. All right, last question.
Oh, yeah.
If you were a board game, what would it be?
Very easy. I would probably say checkers.
Nice.
Seemingly
Check.
simple, but there's a lot of strategy if you're playing to win.
Okay. I love those answers. Vernon, this was so much fun, man.
I like the questions. You approach it from a different angle, so I appreciate it. So thank you as well.
Absolutely. Are you excited about the new direction MCU is heading?
Not at all, but I'm going to give it a chance.
Okay. It's very different. It's very new because they've already used up all the material that we grew up in,
Exactly.
right? All of
Yes.
that is done. So now all of this new material that you're putting with Miss Marvel, with I think She-Hulk is coming pretty soon.
Yeah, it's coming in the
I'm
next couple of
pretty
months.
I'm like, what? Where is this going? Like, I cannot track it, and like, I'm just gonna just go with flow.
I think that, if I had to take a guess, when Stan Lee created a lot, well, him and many others created a lot of these characters, I think they're really, showing a sign of the times, which I'm appreciative of, the
Hmm.
diversity that's out there. Because in the Marvel universe, it wasn't just one particular, and that was a big thing. If I recall correctly from Stan Lee, it was about the diversity. It
Yeah,
was about, even with X-Men, it was showing that persons, and I'm not getting to the whole political side of it because
yeah,
there is a political side, but just because people come from different circumstances don't mean they can't be great. So I think I'm trying to pay attention to that undertone there.
yeah.
But I got to ask, who is your favorite superhero?
Mine's Iron Man.
I, okay. Okay. I like Tony. I can dig that. Fair enough.
I loved his entire arc and the way that he thinks. Right, he's always tinkering. He's always building stuff, and that's
Yeah.
what I love to do. Like, I'm in my workshop building things, putting things together, taking things apart. And the first movie, where he's just spending so much time in his
That's right.
workshop building the Mark II suit. And he's like, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to fix me. And that was his attitude throughout the entire arc that you see. He
Yeah.
was he was told by Captain America, "You cannot put the life on the line." And in that first Avenger movie,
Mm,
Tony takes that nuke, goes through that portal,
that's right.
and falls back down. So he's continually changing as a human person. And guess what happens at the end of the end game? He saves everybody by taking his life. Well, not taking life, but
Yeah.
sacrificing. So he basically overcame all the things that were told to him you can't do, just like you did.
Dude,
See what
you
I did
just did
there?
something to me that was awesome. Like, if I went from that, like, oh, talk, I'm like, man, you took that to the next level. I love that.
Hmm.
And I appreciate you saying it like that, but man, you're right.
So
You're
that's
good.
what I love about him, and that's what I see myself doing over time. So we'll see where we end up, right? But I'm taking that positive. I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. And I have 4 kids, right? My youngest is 4 weeks old. Okay,
Oh man, congrats.
thank you so much. So I want to be that person that shows them anything is possible if you put the time and energy into it. So
Hey, oh, that's a
I'm
dad.
raising
Yes.
good kids.
See, you did something. I hope people are paying attention to this. He's being the message. Too many times, and I talk to a lot of parents about this, make sure your kids are proud of you. And it's not that you have to live in grandiosity, but don't tell your
Hmm.
kids to take risks, take challenges, work on yourself if you're not doing it.
Yeah.
That is Parents Unite. I love that.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Well, it was a great hour. We had some really amazing conversations. We got to learn about who you are, where you come from. You've been an actor. I'm gonna have to look you up on IMDb. Don't.
Oh, I'm not even on there. But like, I literally 3 years. It was 2.5 years.
Okay.
Um, that's another
Well,
lifetime.
here's cool. Here's the cool part about the the past 2 years that we've spent in home. IMDb has enabled for podcast episodes to go on there because there's a lot of actors that were not working, but they were showing up as guests on podcasts. That was showing up as guests on shows, and they needed to show that work. So IMDb was like, you know what? How about we add the podcast category? So now there's podcasts on IMDb where you can list yourself as a speaker, as a guest, appear on this show.
Shut the front door.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I love You go. Thank you. I'm official now. IMDb official. I'm going to do this. Thank you, man.
Amen. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening in. Vernon, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Love your energy.
Really appreciate it. We've built a new friendship here, and we're gonna keep on going. So, guys, thank you so much for listening in, and we will catch you in the next episode. Thanks again, Vernon.
Have a great one, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this episode on Hacks and Hobbies. We absolutely appreciate your contribution. You can find additional notes on hacksandhobbies.com. Please share the podcast with your friends and tell them what you learned about our guest today.